Hi, I'm Mart, and you're watching Mart's Movies Review here on yourmedia.tv. Today I'm going to talk about the movies of Andrea Arnold, the director of the movies Wasp, Fish Tank, and Red Road. Andrea Arnold started making films about 20 years ago. Previous to that, she'd been in children's television, making children's shows in the 1970s with Sandy Toksvig. She got into writing and directing afterwards. She went to the American Film Institute and she learned how to write and direct scripts. She came back to England anyway, and she started making some short movies in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And she made a short film called Wasp, which was an Academy Award winning film. And it was about a story about a woman who had 4 children, and it reminded her of her childhood, Arnold's childhood in Dartmoor in Kent, and people that she had grown up with. It's a story about a mother with 4 children, and she meets a guy, an old flame from years ago, and she's trying to go out with him and trying to hide the fact that she has children, and then create a kind of a date night with him and try to keep the kids who are out the back, kind of keep them happy with kind of just with sweets. And Danny Dyer's in the film. Like, Danny Dyer gets a bad rap for people, but he's actually very good in the film. And he's the guy that she sees coming around her neighborhood, and he stops by and notices her, and they kind of rekindle a kind of a friendship they had years ago, and they go out with each other anyway. It's a very well written movie. It's only about 25 minutes long, and it was entered into the Academy, the Oscar ceremony for the Academy Short Film Award, and it won it. In around that time as well, like Martin McDonagh winning an award as well for Six Shooter, his film with Brendan Gleeson, which is a great short little film as well. And these little short films that the Academy run are actually very good for up-and-coming directors like Arnold and McDonagh. And the story is very good, and she uses the kind of social realism of her background and her storytelling, like Ken Loach does, and in his social realist films. And after she got going with the project Wasp, she went off to make some kind of smaller independent movies. One of them, I think, is one of my favorite films, Red Road. But the next film I want to talk about is called Fish Tank. Fish Tank was made around 2009 with Michael Fassbender before he became famous. It's a story about a mother and 2 daughters, and Michael Fassbender comes into their life and becomes the kind of father figure. The mother is fighting with the eldest daughter. It's really a mother-daughter story. A mother fighting with the eldest daughter. She's kind of rebelling against life, and the mother is kind of just away with the fairies a lot. And she meets Fassbender. The 2 of them have rows, but they get along then. The father, or Fassbender, who's kind of like a father figure to the daughter in a way, and they start dancing, and he sees that she's into dancing. He's kind of encouraging her to go to dance school. And there's a great scene when they're going away together, the family. They go away to kind of a picnic, and they put on James Brown's music and they start dancing to it. It's funny, it's really good. And there's a famous kind of scene like in the film. Towards the end of the film, 2 sisters are saying goodbye to each other. I think she's gone off to dance school or something, and someone says, instead of saying I love you and I love you, so I hate you too, they're saying goodbye to each other. But it's a well-made, like, it's short independent film as well, of mother and daughter, and a kind of a father figure. A figure comes into her life which is against the stereotype of the bad man coming into the house and just being a bad person, it goes against that. So I like what Arnold did with that, after her film Wasp. She went on then to direct one of my favorite films ever made, and I actually bought this film in the IFI in Dublin. I just sought it out and bought it. It's a film called Red Road, about a female security guard who is just doing her job from day to day. Then she notices someone on camera who she recognizes from real life. And as the story goes along, we don't really understand to a good way throughout the movie how the film is and how it plays out. What's the story really about? just shows her with her colleagues and her doing her night work doing security. And we realized then that, spoiler here, but the man that she sees on camera has been left out on jail or parole. It turns out that he was in a car crash and killed her husband and daughter at the bus stop, and she recognizes him, and she wasn't told about his release, and then she becomes kind of obsessed with him, and and they show how the two of them play out the story as it goes along. But Kate Dickie, who plays Jackie in the film, is very good as a security guard at her job, but great with her colleagues as well, but also dealing with the personal grief she has in her life. And there's been a tension as well, I think, with the father of the husband, because something about the way that I think the bodies were cremated, and there was something about a burial or the cremation and the funeral and the cremation, there's kind of like tension there as well when she goes to a wedding of someone in the family. And it's just really, the storytelling of Arnold reminds me of the storytelling of another one of my favorite directors. Well, I'm going to do a review soon of a man called Shane Meadows. Shane Meadows, who made This Is England and Dead Man's Shoes and A Room with Romeo Brass and a few of those kind of English kind of movies. A man could come out of Nottingham, England, and started making short films and got into the big leagues then with the independent films he made. Andrea Arnold has made some more films past Wasp, Fish Tank, and Red Road. She made a film of Wuthering Heights, Cathy and Heathcliff, and she made an American movie called American Honey. I have to see that film. So it's a story about Shia LaBeouf and a group of his friends going across America on adventures. So that's a movie I'm going to have to check out as well. She got a new movie as well, I see, in 2021 called Cow. So I must check that out as well, see that film, see if it's as good as the rest of her films, which are really high standard. For many years now, like last 10, 12, 15 years, I've been watching a lot of Shane Meadows movies and Andrea Arnold movies, and I just really like their style. I like their style of movie making. Kind of reminds me of the Dogma 95, Lars von Trier, and a few of them. The director, like Italian for Beginners, is one of my favorite films. And if I had a choice, if I had a chance myself, I'd like to direct that book of Maeve Binchy's Evening Class, which is based on Italian for Beginners. And I'd have to see about watching that film as well. I'd like to see Italian for Beginners again. And I got Binchy's book at home because I like the book, and it's hard kind of to read, but it's kind of well written as well. I like to read the book and kind of take what I want out of it. Italian for Beginners, directed by Lone Shervick. She reminds me of Andrea Arnold, getting into independent filmmaking with Dogma 95. And I just really enjoy Hollywood films, yet world cinema is very good as well. I mean, I might even do an episode on the actor Ricardo Duran, who was in the film Nine Queens as well, and The Secret in Their Eyes. And he's in a lot of these Argentinian films, which are really well made. They're just really interesting, entertaining films. If you get a chance, Wasp, I think Wasp is on YouTube, so you can watch Wasp on YouTube. It's just a 25-minute film, and you can definitely buy Fish Tank or Red Road on YouTube or any of the platforms that be renting or selling it. You can even rent the film if it's on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed these reviews, and you can log on to nearmedia.tv on YouTube, and you can just like our page on Facebook and watch more nearmedia.tv shows.